call meeting to order. It is 6:30 on July 13th, 2023. Only trustee excused today is trustee Stein. Everyone else is in attendance, so let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, public comment or input? None. Okay. Today we're going to, Ryan, is it okay if I come right to you? Or
Yep, that's just
okay.
fine.
So today we're going to have Ryan Berg from WeatherTight share a presentation with us about windows. This is not, we're not voting on anything tonight. It's simply information. And then we'll be putting a bid in the paper to make a decision based on who else bids for us. But he is somebody that's going to share with us windows for the buildings in the complex. So go for it.
Okay, talking with Kurt and Alicia, it sounds like, I don't know if you want me to stand up here or
Yeah,
just
you're
talk
right.
from a seat, it's fine too. Looking at what you guys have, the windows need to be put in without messing with the interior woodwork so that you keep the integrity of the window and the buildings without going crazy in cost. A good residential window is going to be fine as far as the vinyl window goes. It's going to be a less expensive window. It's going to look nice. It's going to be easy to clean. It's going to be something that any of your tenants are going to be able to easily use. Kurt had shared a couple of options that we may want to do one thing or the other depending on each individual setup for the windows. There's building 1 and 5 have some gigantic windows from floor to ceiling, which would be cost prohibitive to replace exactly the way that they are now. So we have some ideas on how to still keep a good look to the buildings, but ultimately not have it be, 80 grand to replace one set of windows. So we have some of those options which I can share with you. I don't have all the materials here for you, but I will get them all to you so that you guys can see what we're talking about, some drawings and so on and so forth. To kind of just talk through that quickly, you have windows all the way up to the top of your peak areas. Those are trapezoid windows. They're cost prohibitive to do. So if we brought that down to where they square off, left a lot of light there, you're going to be able to do that in a way that's going to make it look really nice so you can finish off the outside and the inside. However we need to do that, again, as to how you guys decide to do that, there's lots of options. A lot of the basement windows probably are going to be safer if they're glass block. Some of those rooms you may not rent out, some of them may be better off that way. Glass block can come with a vented option or a non-vented option. So in the case of an electrical area that you have that you don't want any, you don't need any venting, then you can do something like that. Again, we can talk through, ask questions. You guys can email me back and forth and figure out what's the right way to go for each one of those spots. But for the most part, we're looking at double hung windows. Double hung windows are going to be more cost prohibitive or a better cost section and still be able to put some good quality into the windows. So you're not skimping doing the Menards, Home Depot, and Lowe's windows. But for buildings 2 and 4, there's a lot of options there. Again, for the bottom, windows being glass blocked. They don't really have a whole lot more for you other than we need to work through what questions you guys may have. So I guess it kind of opened it up to see if you guys have any.
If you remember, we were looking at storefront for a while, and this is definitely a less expensive option. If you go in any of the buildings, they definitely need to replace. Those buildings are 60 years old, and some of them, the windows don't open, some of them, the windows are falling apart. So, and it would be also really nice for our tenants to be able to have some airflow in there, which is why we started looking at double hung. Do you guys have questions about anything, Ryan?
Did you find a, excuse me, did you find a vendor for the glass block windows?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we can do that, but ultimately, as I've shared with Alicia and working with Kurt, I think there's a better route, again, to help with the cost of the whole project. So, yes, I did have 2 different options for us that we can look at if we don't want to go directly through us, because there is some ways to work around some of those things. So, Yeah.
We are looking at all buildings, like, I mean, they all need to be replaced. For a while, we were only looking at two, and now it's like, we really do need to really just replace everything, because they are in bad shape. If you go into the village administrative office, you'll see those big windows, they're gorgeous, but no one, this is not a home. This is not somebody's house, and Kurt and I have talked about this, because I don't want anybody to be upset. I don't want to take away the aesthetics from the building, but it's not a residential space. So cutting off, if you look in, if you're in building one, and you go where the chairs are, the lobby area, they're cut off at the top. That's kind of what it might look like in the office, so you won't lose a lot of light, but you guys can't even open windows in there, right? And
A couple of them open.
A couple of them, but I mean, the cranks are terrible, so, that was my biggest concern, was losing that, but also I do think it needs to happen, because replacing those trapezoid windows in those funny shapes is just not, it was like $80,000 just to do that room.
Yeah, if, to do it exactly the way that it is and recreate it, you've got to remove all of the woodwork and redo all of that wood. You can't just put windows inside each one of those spots, I would really hope. Not to, you know, I don't want to come in here and start beating on the area that you have, but there's a lot of them that you worry about what's going to happen to them as they start to deteriorate faster and faster.
Right.
You wait too long, you have more cost, again, with the woodwork that I'm talking about, having to do that, because at that point you have some rot and you need to get rid of all of the rot, and you don't want to, you know, guess as to how much you have and but left around. So the sooner you get on it, the better chance you are going to have the lowest cost for it. We know prices are going up. You guys know all that. I don't have to go through that everything. Just to comment on, you know, there's some windows that work, some windows that don't. You use your windows if they were working. If they don't work, nobody can use them. So that's also a little bit of a safety hazard that we talked about in some of those areas. But there's a lot of options to, again, modernize a little bit, but also keep the integrity of what you have. So.
And I think the glass block is all for the basement, which I think is a very good safety factor in the fact that you do have tenants that use a lot of the basement space, and you just don't want something happening where somebody is, you know, breaking the window or trying to put it into the side. So,
yeah, glass blocks are not going to allow you to do
Right,
that.
exactly.
It's the safest option for your basement windows, and it's pretty easy access for some of those. They're big enough to crawl right in a lot of cases. So a single pane, double pane, even a triple pane window is just a hammer. A glass block is a jackhammer. You're not coming here to break in. So.
and I don't think this is the only building we probably won't touch, because those are the buildings we replace, and those are right now fine. It's really where our tenants are, where we have people that are using their buildings and they're utilizing space. So,
I believe the windows number count that I was at without the glass block or the windows on the ground glass was like 253. So it's quite a huge number.
a lot of windows.
There are lots of these windows on buildings 2 and 4, or I shouldn't say a lot, there's a few. I don't know if those need to be redone. I haven't seen the inside of a lot of the areas as well, so I can't 100% give you exactly what has to happen until I see every single one, but we wouldn't do that until we're at the point where you guys are ready to move forward and you want to get this completed, then we'd have all that done. The numbers would fluctuate a little bit, but it would be a small amount. So I'm kind of looking at this as a worst case scenario.
So with that means, does anybody have any questions? I think, as you know, we were using CUNY architects to kind of manage this. They have not been great at getting back to us, and we may have them help us put a bid in the paper. If we can't get a hold of them, then Materia and I, and possibly Kendall, will help put that bid in the paper, and we will bid out and see who else is interested in this job. But that's where we're going. So we're back on the window train, trying to get this taken care of. So, yeah.
I know it's really bad. There are tenants that have breakout windows, and so many of them are stripped, or if they're like really cranky and they get it out, they can't get it back in. You have to go outside and push it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's gonna break it.
So are those windows, do you know what are they original to the building?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
just walk through. And what I was looking at, I really don't think we're gonna lose anything in way of light. I think it's just gonna look a lot better than it does right now. It'll change a little bit, but my dad actually walked through with Kurt before we got Ryan in, and my dad was a Windows guy at Brandon Lumber for years, so,
Okay.
he gave us some really good advice too, so.
And how long are these windows rated for if they can do that?
You're gonna have your windows, and we're gonna be able to warranty that for, it's gonna have a 50-year warranty on the product.
Okay.
Our workmanship's gonna be behind that as well. You'll be missing some things like glass breakage. If you have the glass breakage, we'll come out to repair it, because you'll pay for the new replacement, which is pretty normal. But other than that, it's, if it's any mechanical failure, if it's any failure of ours in the workmanship, we're gonna cover that stuff. So, trying to make it as long as we can, longevity as we can make it without, again, making it as much as storefront windows cost to do.
I think economically too, just for the heating, cooling element, that's going to really see a decrease in bills. Many of those windows, the windows just coming through, you can't really stop them, so that'll help a lot. It'll help us and the tenants.
The outside of the windows too, you have a brick building, and you want to have something up to those that don't have the chance of deteriorating over time. So aluminum wrapping and wood that's out there, so that you don't have maintenance, and not having more cost to doing the upkeep of the windows over time.
Anything else for anybody? Okay, thank you, Brian.
You bet.
Thank you very much.
I'm gonna leave you a brochure so you guys can look at it,
Excellent.
just for the window that we're looking at currently.
Excellent, okay, well, thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you.
Do you want me to stick around or not?
You do not have to stick around
Okay.
and listen to any of our boring agenda. A very exciting agenda.
Yes.
They have a really nice summer night.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, take care, thank you much,
Take
appreciate it.
care.
Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna make a motion to consent the agenda. I have a motion.
Yeah. I move to consider.
A motion made by trustee Hinkle and seconded by trustee Stevie. The sheriff is not here yet, so we're gonna skip over the sheriff and just go on to reports. For the president's report, thank you for those of you that attended the Kaiser Park grand opening. I think it went really, really well. I've heard from various people how much they enjoyed being there, and we had a really nice write-up in the paper, so yay team. Rummage sales seemed to go well. It was a little quiet this year, but I think it was fun. It's good. Not by your house, it was busy. That's great. We have been talking to RIC Electric to bore the lights. There's 5 lights that are out. They are looking at a date for us. They know that they need to come. They're just really backed up right now, so they will be boring for the lights to fix those lights that are on South Elmwood onto Taylor fairly soon. But they have to bore a hole in someone's driveway, so that should be taken care of soon. They just called us here yesterday and said that they just don't have a date. But everything, they've gotten a purchase order, it's all taken care of. We're just waiting on their schedule. If you noticed, asphalt contracting did come and finish the work on Standish Lane. So that has been taken care of. Those barrels are gone. And thank you for taking care of seeding and what, I think you guys seeded over there too.
John,
Yeah. And then also on South Elmwood, there was that broken catch basin that has been there for a year. We cannot let that happen again at this year, that took that long. So that was also taken care of, and that is all done, paid for, taken care of. There have been a couple things with trees in the village and removal of stumps. Just so you're aware, Shirley Miller, who lives on Taylor Avenue, forgive me because I do not have her exact address. I don't know if you do. On Elm Tree Court. We are removing her stump. We've been talking about this with her. As you know, there's an ordinance in place since 2019. She had her tree removed in 2021. We've asked her, we sent her various letters. We are now going to have it taken out by Affordable Tree Care, and we're going to wait until October because she has a lot of flowers around her stump. She is not very happy about this, but we do have all paperwork in place showing that this is the way it is. Like, that's just, if my tree came down, I'd have to grind my stump. So, also, Michelle Joss, at the end of Green Meadows Lane. She is worried about a tree overhanging on her house. I went and looked at it myself. I thought it was on the Beck residence. It's not. It's actually on the Haas residence. So Nick should be getting a letter, Nick Haas should be getting a letter sharing that he needs to remove those trees, because she's already had one fall on her roof. So there are some dead trees back there. Ken, I mentioned that there was a tree on Taylor Avenue. Did you take a look at it?
Not yet.
Okay, so there's one, and then there's another one maybe on Standish.
That's an email, right?
Yes, yeah. And there's one on Standish Lane that's like a pine tree that probably should come down.
Is it the whole? No.
The one
That's
on Taylor Avenue has a hole in it, the pine tree is just dead. It's closer to North Elmwood, it's about 3 houses there. And then there is a car, I gave you the address of this one, but I did not write down the address. There is a car at 3418 North Elmwood. I believe this is a rental, but there are flat tires. And
Sitting there for a while.
we'll be sending them probably notification that they can't have their car there. So that's something Materia and I are working on together. And then Materia and I are also working on the garbage bin behind the Dollar Tree that is, now there's a couch there. I honestly don't know who that garbage bin belongs to, because Dollar Tree has their own, like the Blue Kangaroo has their own, even the apartment complex has their own. So we're gonna call and find out and see if we can just get it taken out. I don't know, like.
That's been an issue. for
Years, I know, so I'm just,
Always, they clear it out and there's a bunch of junk to see the next week or whatever.
I think it belongs to a pizza place.
there's no, Caesars? Little Caesars?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're gonna be calling to find out, and, as I told Brian earlier, I have a name of, to call somebody about what they're gonna do about the road, as we know, is terrible. And I really just wanna see if they have an idea as to when on Taylor Avenue between Durand, on Laser Avenue, between Durand and Taylor meets, if they're gonna do anything with that road, because it is so pitted and potholed, and,
They're putting new yellow stripes out today, so they didn't look pretty.
are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
There's money on paid, right?
Oh, and also, asphalt contracting, I don't think I said this, but they should be striking the parking lot soon. Materia called them as well, and they are also backed up, but they know they have to come back out here. So those are all my reports. So there's a lot going on. I'm really trying to work with Materia before school starts, so I'm in the office for a couple hours on Tuesdays, which is good, sometimes on Thursdays, just to make sure we're touching base. So that's my report. Trustee Hinkle, do you have anything to report?
Nothing,
Trustee Johnson? Trustee Rude?
As far as you took care of RC, taking, they were doing that for or boring underneath that driveway. But what I wanted to ask too, this is not electrical or anything like that, but, that your, Heinrich's houses, okay, from Heinrich's house down to Bag's house, okay, there's that stretch there that the county is responsible for clearing the grass. And they have to be reminded a couple times a year to get in there and clean it. I don't know exactly what, you would just say maybe the 3,500 block of Lathrop or whatever. As long as you remind them they're coming, they will cut that down. That little bit between the curb and the fence. Okay, that's all it is. Okay. Just wanted to mention that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Stein is excused. Trustee Stewey?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So Tunes on Taylor's on Tuesday. We have Flat Creek Highway coming. They were with us last year and everybody really enjoyed them, so we invited them back. And we have a food truck coming as well. They're out of Kenosha, correct? They just opened in June, it seems like, and they're trying to really get their name out there. The food seems to be great. It's called Taco in the Face.
Yeah, let's do the
It goes to the face. So we're excited to have them, so anyone who's here, let your neighbors know, family's welcome. And then we picked a date for National Night Out.
National Night Out is always August.
Yeah.
It's always the first Tuesday in August.
Yep. So we started planning that, and have the fire department come, first responders, and bounce house for the kids, book exchange for adults, and some other items. So we'll be updating everybody as that progresses.
And this, at this Tunes on Taylor, thanks to my husband's suggestion, we're going to have the popcorn cart, but we're also going to have an information table with information about the village. So, village hall rentals, which will, for people that come, we do have people that come from out of the area, but I'll have a flyer out for National Night Out for village residents. Possibly neighborhood watch, if you want me to put anything on the table for that, Laura, let me know. We've got it, Terry and I came up with a couple different things today that we're gonna have just a couple copies of everything for anybody that wants, and then a popcorn being made, and we'll probably sell popcorn for $1, and then I'll probably have my 16-year-old who does not know it yet will be manning that station for some service hours. So yeah, I thought it would be a nice little. And I even think we're gonna put something about John's disposal out there because there's some people that just never know the schedule. So we thought that would be good. Okay, Administrator Shaw, your report.
Yes, I was able to reach the Queen. And they are more than willing to help with it.
Excellent.
So for the windows,
They didn't charge us.
no, they're not. He said it's more like,
Okay, great.
he said this will be a third time.
So, there's
So,
no charge.
yeah, and I will confirm too, because I wanted to report back to everyone, and I told my reach out to them.
So we were very adamant, like, we talked about, no, we're not paying any more money, so, yeah.
And then, yeah, our fall contract, our affordable tree care came out and took care of those trees, so that's all taken care of as well. We're gonna follow up with the dumpster over there behind the kangaroo. I did reach out to, the director over at CES too, so I'm gonna see what he says to me. I've been waiting on them to send time call, so hopefully we can get answers for that as well. This is more stuff, yeah, now it's couches and fires, yeah.
She's building.
So, you know what I really think that they should do, and I mentioned this before, is when you talk to CVS, I think they should put up big cameras. And just pretend, they don't have to tell people they're not video, you just put them up there and you say, okay, video in progress. So people are gonna see that and they're gonna go,
I know, I thought the
I'm not
same.
gonna be doing that.
Yeah.
So that might be something to look at. Another thing I was gonna ask Linda, I'm sorry, and I'm interrupting you, Terry, I'm sorry. But, I had heard a couple people at the last Tunes on Taylor that they could not hear the singing because there were kids running around, and that's fine, but maybe there's something they could do to increase the volume without upsetting the neighbors. I don't know, just something else to think about.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Okay, all right, sorry to interrupt you.
And then, as far as the park, we do want to add the free little library.
And I'll talk about that too, that's in our agenda, so we will talk about that. But,
And also working on some welcome packets, so before the residents were getting a booklet, but we're working on folders now, so we'll have more information in there. So that they have information about John's disposal, so it's less of that,
but still the book,
yeah,
but then
still be in there.
within there, a couple of neighborhood watch, just a little bit more pieces of information to share.
What we usually do is we'll have that little book, and then I'll give them a copy of the schedule for the year for John.
Oh, great.
And then I give them a neighborhood watch packet.
Oh, excellent, okay, good, good, good.
That's what they do.
I think she touched on pretty much everything.
And share what you're doing.
Oh, and I'm also doing some training with the league. So,
Okay.
for the next 3 months, I have a training every month. So, like budgeting, and then I'm going to be going to Chiefs conference, and then another one on local government one-on-one as well.
They're
So very excited.
They're very, very good at it now.
Yes.
Yeah. How did the CMAR work out? Did that all work out pretty well?
Yeah, so we already had it
Plug in the
submitted.
numbers?
It was already submitted, just to wait for error.
Okay. And the CMOM now, that's something to do with emergency management, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, is that coming along at all?
Yeah, so I've been looking at it. I did bring a brochure too, so I can pass that around. So we can all look
I
at
know
it.
the state's gonna start getting sticky on this.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's on her to-do list, so she's been working on that.
So if you want to take a look at this, I'll pass this around to
We'll
you.
get back to you.
Yes,
Okay.
it's kind of like a packet, but,
Okay.
it's a lot of good information in there. So we can really send it.
Okay, great, thank you. So the CMOM, what does it stand for? Remind me.
Capacity management, operation, and maintenance.
Yes, so It's something we have to have in place, we don't have in place, and so we're working on putting it together in place. So if there is a problem with anything, we have a plan in place, which makes good sense to me. Okay. I did skip Barb. Barb? Trustee Whittick,
Yes.
do you have anything?
I don't.
Okay, great. I apologize. Okay, new business. The discussion of, regarding park donation funds. We have, Kendall, how many funds for the park? Is it 375? I think it's about 375.
I'm just gonna have a best guess, just like you.
Okay, I think it's $375. It's not terribly much. I think, Chris had a thought that we were gonna get a bunch of donations, and this is where we are. So, $1,000 was gonna be like a plaque. You could do a plaque, you put your name on a plaque of one of the benches. We would really like to put in a little library. And I talked to a couple of different residents who thought that was a great idea. I'd love to have actually, like they do on the other side of the little suburb over there, they have an adult one and a children's one, which I think would be great. I will help manage it. I do have somebody in the village that is interested in also helping manage the little library. So we would like to use the park donations for that, which I think would be great. Greg Talley came and talked to me, and he said if I got any plans, he would build one for us. So I'm gonna look at a couple. I know you can buy one online. There's a whole website you can go to and just order something. I'm gonna talk to Greg and see if we should do that, or if he wants to put in the effort to do that. I guess my question to the board is, do we want to somehow put a plaque on there with people's names for who donated the little library? Don't you think that would be good? Okay. So is there any thoughts or questions about what we should do with the park? Any other suggestions for what we could do with park donation funds to the board?
That's it.
I think everything's going to park, so it's going on. Okay, moving on. Discussion of possible ordinance for business solicitations within the village. Linda brought this to my attention, so I'm really going to turn this over to Linda.
So I've had multiple people in the neighborhood come to me or discuss with me about the non-people who've been approaching their homes and dumping while they're in their driveway, sometimes a little later in the evening, where people get a little uncomfortable being approached. So I took a moment and looked at our license and permits ordinance for transient merchants. It's exceptionally broad and pretty much, if it's between, I think, 9 a.m. and 8 p.m., if you're legal to, if you have an actual business, you can door-to-door sales. As long as when you approach a person, you state your business and name. Going from there, I looked at other municipalities, and one I came across was for Glendale, here in Wisconsin. And a thing they do that I thought was interesting is they charge a salesperson's fee. So you come to the village, you have to get a permit to be able to sell within the village, and then you also pay a $15 background check for your salesperson. I think that would, it's not a negative thing to know who's walking around your village at all hours of the day. So it's something I just wanted to bring forward to discuss.
I think that's actually, for people impersonating other businesses, I think that's probably really, you know how sometimes people will hear, there's people impersonating the maintenance guy, you know, the water maintenance person or something. I think it's a really interesting idea. I know we probably can't vote on this tonight. We probably have to bring it to changing the resolution. What do you guys think?
Well, I don't have anything against it. Me personally, I only had one person approach me this year regarding pesticide spraying. Done a thing, and told them that, well, I got somebody. Sometimes that's been it for me, but others may have a different experience.
I just had the same problem with the same one, it was just pest control. I mean, he didn't physically, he was calling out from the street, so I was walking out the front door, so.
How do you implement it?
You just have people showing up, that,
Mhm.
how do they come up with everything? Scooters, and, when you say, do you have a permit, then they're gonna scatter.
That would be the tough thing.
How to police it.
I can see that right as being an issue, is how you enforce it.
Right, I've seen other municipalities, they'll put, their village sign as you enter the village, no solicitation. In our current one, it says if you have the no solicitation on your door, you have to turn and walk away, which most municipalities have that. But this would just take a step further, they have to do a little extra effort to be able to come to the village and, those things.
Mhm. Brian, what do you think? Any suggestions?
Yeah, well, I agree with Ken, it's been hard to enforce.
Do you think it would be beneficial to put out emails to villagers telling them that we're doing this, if we decide to do it, and then maybe just tell them too, if you put that no solicitation someplace that's visible in your door, they have to turn around and leave. I don't know, I mean, that's, which is, go ahead.
So, I think another good idea would be to get the villages input on what they think about it. Is it an issue to them as well? You know, like, who was it? You. About when my house needed painting. We had, and it was clear in today, then someone came and knocked on the door and said, we're from this painting company, and so on. But I felt it was targeted because it was clear it needed paint. I mean, I personally don't mind that. But other than that,
Okay, let's do that. That'd be next step then, just looking into public input, I think that's great. Okay, moving on. Yeah, let's table that for now. Yeah, because we can't vote on it, it's just discussion. Oh, for,
yeah.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the new ordinance for the park.
the well.
oh, no, did
You
are you
printed
looking
your
at-
own, didn't you?
Are you looking at, look at the one Ken printed.
Oh, no, this
We
is.
changed,
this-
we had to change something.
This is
Okay.
updated.
Because we got something from the lawyer, so yeah, look at,
Okay.
Okay,
so things just got moved around a little bit, so that one's at the end now.
okay, thank you.
Sorry, Laura.
That's cool.
Okay, next discussion of a pavilion in either the Village Complex or Kaiser Park. Linda also brought this to my attention, which we've been actually talking about this, as events, on the events committee, quite a bit, because we do use the space out here quite a bit. So, Linda, I'm gonna let you take this one too.
All right, so anyone who's come to Trustees on Taylor, we used the old concrete slab from where there was a shed there years ago. It's incredibly unsafe. There's holes in it. I mean, it does the job, but it would be really nice to have a spot to be able to present activities and have community events that we could have a band sit on there and have electric plugged right up to. It's, using that space has been great the past 2 years. I had a member of the community that's lived here for 30 years come up to me at Trustees on Taylor last time and said, I've lived here 30 years and this is the first time I've met so many of these people. This is so great. So it really kind of got my brain spinning, like what else could we do here to bring more people in? And I think this would really help. Even if, someone in the community is having a family reunion, well, come on up. You can use the pavilion, items like that. So I was on Amazon and I seen a 12 by 16 hardtop gazebo, so it's aluminum on the top, no shingles, anything like that. You can get these for under $2,000. So it's fairly cost effective, I believe, compared to having a contracted company come out and build one from scratch. It would probably triple the cost. And then the concrete, the estimates I got, they range between $1,500 to $3,000 depending on how deep you want it, if you want anything fancy done with it, and then labor. So I was looking around $3,500 for total. That's not including electric because obviously I can't get a quote on that, or anything else we want to do with it like lighting. So this one's a little larger, it'd be great for out here. If down the road we wanted something small over by the park, so people could sit under a gazebo with their kids and have picnics. They have different size availabilities for that range in price. But This would be for next year. We don't have it in the budget this year, and it's smart to take our time and plan things out accordingly. So this is just something I want to present and get the kind of ball rolling on, discussion going on.
We've been talking about
next year.
for a long time.
Yeah.
Also, the other thing I thought that might help is we do have graduation parties and different things here.
Exactly, I was just gonna say that.
And I think, you know, they could rent out the space and then for an extra small fee maybe, or maybe not. If you want to use the outside space, you can also use the gazebo for an additional small price. That's just something to think about. I think people would really like it.
We've done weddings out there,
Mhm.
where they have, they're on the platform, and then they come in here for the reception.
So it would be, I think it'd be really nice.
And I think something like this would look nice too.
It will look good. I look at all of this stuff personally as like a capital improvement. I mean, that is gonna make the property a little more valuable. We can rent it out. It's, you know, it's just a beautification things. I mean, the windows we have to do, but that said, it's a capital improvement on the property we rent.
Just like the basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
Basketball backwards.
It's now more desirable.
Right.
This reminds me of, if you've been to Franksville Park, they have something very similar to this. And like, I was just sitting under it the other day. But it's really nice. They have a bunch of picnic tables. So it's something to think about, but I love the idea. So I'd love to look at doing it next year in the spring, so we can use it in the summer for sure.
It can be used for a host of things.
Yeah, I think so too.
On the cost.
Went back, charge a little bit, like you said, paper and soap.
Exactly.
Yep, and this cost didn't include the removal of the slab that's currently out there either, so that's something to be mindful of.
Yeah, and we do need to get that slab fixed.
Let me just, so these are two separate, like,
Yes.
quotes, right?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
so at the top is the gazebo, and at the bottom is what we need to do the
Can
concrete
redo the
slab.
slab.
Yeah, and if you looked at it, if you've been to Tunes on Taylor at all,
We are gonna patch,
thank you,
take cold patch.
that'd be great.
I think that's the easiest,
Just for
this
I just
year.
don't want anybody breaking an ankle.
I never knew it was that bad.
It's sad. We're always like, put your guitar case over the hole, please, we're so sorry, it's so
It's pretty
embarrassing.
wonky.
Like, please don't trip, just stick a speaker on top of it.
Our last performer even mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think this would make a nice space for a band to be able to plug in their
Yeah.
instruments right there. We have to run a 150-foot extension cord into
Mhm.
the
well,
gallery.
there's power on
Only when the
it.
lights on.
Oh, yeah, but it doesn't.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I could show you how to bypass that.
Okay, yes, please. Before next
Kurt's got
Tuesday would be great. Because we're like, this does not work, well, make this lights on.
That's not really good.
Yeah, so check that out, Kurt, write that down, I'm putting that, I'm gonna text you and tell you to check
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah, so when the lights come on at 8, then we have on.
Right, yeah.
Concert's over, woo!
Okay. that's-
Okay, so I'm tabling this for now,
Yeah.
but, just keep it in the back of your mind, because I would like to try and fit that in the budget for next year. Okay, next item, approval of resolution 5, a resolution accepting the submission of the 2022 CMAR report. And I believe you have it in front of you. Does everybody see the resolution in front of them? Are there any questions, discussion? Kendall and I actually worked on this. It was fairly simple. We used a little bit of guidance from Chris. This was right when the material started, which is Kendall and I just got it off the table. So we didn't have to worry about it, but it's been approved and taken care of. Any questions?
We've done this many, many years. Is this for maintenance of the pump?
Yes. Well, and like maintenance of also, like the village, what's our sewer, what's the water?
Yeah, because we have to pay so much money for that pump.
You have to plug in numbers, you have to go back and see how much you spent in different areas, yeah. Okay, I need a motion
I
to
will
approve, go ahead.
I will move to approve resolution number 5, accepting the submission of the 2022 CMAR report.
Motion made by trustee Hinkle. Second by trustee Studi. All in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it, so passed. Okay, discussion and possible approval of resolution number 6, a resolution authorizing the transfer of budgeted funds. So you also have this one in your packet. Take a look at this item. We are transferring things for various in fact, I might have the clerk treasurer just share a little bit about where you're moving things since you're here.
Sure. We do this every year. We want to keep a balanced budget. And so sometimes our line items will get close to 100% or they'll go over, and so we'll move funds from other lines where we haven't spent as much money, or we don't plan on spending the full amount in the year that for the budget that we set. So we had some extra loan interest money and some extra money in the village administrator's salary line item for this year. So we're going to go ahead and move those to the line items that went over already, and you'll see this copy of the budget in your packet where you can see how much money we've gone over. It's over 100%, you know that we've already reached our budgeted amount, and it's only July. And so this helps us to have the budget, balance our budget, and we'll continue to look at it throughout the year. We'll probably have a few more.
And Kendall's done a great job of just saying, you can't spend any money. I'm like, okay, got this. So I thought this was great. Is there discussion, any questions about this, any concerns? As Kendall brought up to me today, we did not have, thank you for being here, we did not have an administrator for about 5 months. So we did have some extra money to pull things from because we weren't paying anyone for that position, but I do so appreciate you, and I'm glad you're here because you're helping so much. But any discussion about anything, about where we're moving anything from?
We got a lot of interest from the window. So that's where I think the rates are a little bit higher. That's up in the rates. So that's getting a little more, but I'm surprised how much you have here. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So it's
So-
good to know.
Okay, so I need a motion.
I will move to approve resolution number 2023-6, resolution authorizing the transfer of budgeted funds.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by trustee Rude and second by trustee Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you guys have it, so passed. Line item F, discussion and possible approval of resolution number 7, creation of ordinance chapter, I did not put this 16, entitled Parks, and therein ordinance number 16.01 entitled Park Regulations, and the amending ordinance number 15.10 entitled Ordinance Violation Fine Schedule. So if you look at this ordinance, we had to update the agenda a little bit today because we got notice from our lawyer, Kingston, okay, Attorney Kingston, today. He emailed me. I emailed him back in June, and his secretary was out. So I finally got information from him today about the park ordinance. So if you can take a look at the ordinance for the park, we want to make sure that all the regulations that we have in place, that littering is prohibited in the park, no glass, no alcohol, no motorized vehicles, playing at your own risk. People need to act in a respectful manner, no fires, no trespassing, no damage. One question, somebody was concerned about dogs or animals in the park. You can bring your dog, but please have it leashed. I think that was fine. And that the park hours, the park shall be open at sunrise and closes at sunset. And then penalties, any person who violates any of the foregoing regulations shall be penalized pursuant to ordinance number 15.10, ordinance violation fine schedule, and then you got the fines below. So we have a sign that we're going to print. It's not going to be any bigger than the sign we have for the village park, but we'll post that somewhere in the park so people can see it. And then we will have the ordinances listed below.
Do we want to put anything in there about tobacco use?
Thoughts?
My thinking was just, somebody
Cigarettes?
sitting there smoking a big stove, it's walking over to it. 2-year-old on the slide.
I don't know if you can regulate outdoor spaces for smoking,
No,
because it's outside.
I think if you're.
I don't anticipate,
Because I know that it's.
Well, why not though, you know what I mean?
this, you and I want to go over there and smoke cigarettes.
If I got the grandkids over there, I have a cigar in the park.
And the other kids get out of the yard.
I suppose that might fall under the column. Active
Okay.
responsive, orderly, respectful manner to all visitors.
Well, it says no fires as well.
True. But if it's bubbled up under that, again, probably not going to be an issue.
I don't think so. Any other thoughts, discussion, anything we can change, take out, take a look at that, and weigh in this ordinance for a while?
With the signage you're making, and using existing signage you have in
I think so, you've talked to, we're doing the same thing through fast signs, I think yes. They have it already actually done, but we can't print it and have it done until we got this. So I'm hoping it's printed and then posted within like the next few weeks. Okay, Pops? Okay, anything else? I know.
I do have
I'll
one
be
quick
texting
question.
him.
Would we enforce this to sheriff's?
Yes, I would think we would probably tell them.
Okay.
I think we brought that up last time they were here. Like, and when I talked at the park to Chris, yeah, I think we probably just had, like, if there was concern, we'd have to let them know. Good question.
We have something too about making sure, I mean, this might be it, but didn't we have something about having actual ordinances that said this, or just the actual word, the new ordinance? that we want to do?
This would be the new ordinance going into effect. So there is nothing, because we've never had park before.
But everything in the ordinance would be posted
Well,
outside. Not everything.
not this whole thing. It'll just say ordinance number,
Okay,
and it'll have the ordinance number underneath it.
okay.
Like, so it'll have littering prohibited, but it won't have all of these.
Understood, yeah.
It'll just say littering prohibited, no glass, alcohol, and then underneath it'll say, according to ordinance,
Yeah.
okay?
That's what the sheriff needs to enforce.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions, thoughts, discussion?
I think it's very well thought out, and I think it's something we need. We got back and behind us.
Okay, I need a motion.
I'll move to approve resolution number 2023-7, a resolution approving creation of ordinance chapter 16 entitled Parks, and therein ordinance number 16 .01 entitled Park Regulations, and the amending of ordinance number 15.10 entitled Ordinance Violation Time Schedule.
Is there a second? Okay, motion made by trustee Root and seconded by trustee Whittaker. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it, so passed. Back into line. Okay, and then resolution of approval of accounts payable. Did everyone get a chance to see? I have not signed it either.
This is your,
Yes. Oh, yeah.
it's in the packet.
All right, I need a motion to approve accounts payable.
I'll move to approve the accounts payable.
I need a second. Please go through and change it to 7:13, because everybody wrote 6:13 instead of 7:13. Do I have a second? Okay, motion made by trustee Hinkle and second by trustee Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so passed. And we are now adjourned.